Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. We're live from Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi is Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across Ghana, including Jubilee Radio in Keta, A1 Radio in Bogatanga, and Radio Max in Takrade. You can also download the My Joy online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live on the internet. In this edition, President Akufo-Addo personally leading international diplomatic efforts to bring in more vaccines to protect Ghanaians against COVID-19 as India's decision to suspend AstraZeneca exports significantly impacts the country's vaccination plan.
The President is very much committed to this cause, and the world is recognizing the efforts Ghana is making. And I believe that we will soon get there, only that we can't easily predict the timing.
We'll hear from the Health Minister at an ongoing event to mark Vaccination Week. Former UN Chairman for West Africa, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chamba, says Ghana's image as a beacon of democracy was tainted during the polls and asked government, political parties and the Electoral Commission to ensure debt from the 2020 polls does not recur.
Our image has been tainted in that regard, and it should be of concern to us. One person's life is one person too many to be lost in an election.
We hear from the EC, which insists the polls were the most successful and most peaceful. Also, private legal practitioner Kisie Jabeng to be nominated by President Akufo-Addo as a special prosecutor. We have details. Also in this package, the cost of congestion on Ghana's roads.
Kaswa is not far. It should take about 35 minutes. But with the traffic, you need a minimum of an hour and a half. We spend a lot on fuel.
We put a spotlight on roads leading to Kaswa and how drivers are spending more fuel due to long hours in traffic. In sports,
Southampton defender Mohamed Salisu is adamant he will play for the Black Stars of Ghana, but insists the time is not right.
And later in showbiz, we'll tell you what exactly the controversial song Toto by rapper Ede means as he asks people to stop reading meanings into this new song.
When I say let's go out in Ewo, you can say mito, let's go out. Now the process is mitotum. It's like go and going, yes.
We have that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apo. Please stay for details. This is your home of bold and fearless journalism. This afternoon, President Akufo-Addo is personally leading international diplomatic efforts to bring in more vaccines to protect Ghanaians against COVID-19. Now, that's according to Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu, who has admitted India's decision to suspend AstraZeneca export is significantly impacting the country's vaccination plan. He was speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of an event to mark the 11th Annual African Vaccination Week in Accra. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, has been interacting with him.
So far, we have received close to about 1 million vaccines, the 600,000. Then we got 150,000, another 150,000. We got the 50,000. If you put them together, we are getting close to about 100 million.
And are they all AstraZeneca vaccines, or we have any other variations?
So far, we have all AstraZeneca vaccines.
Okay.
We are trying to make efforts to try to get in the country some Russian-type Sputnik. Though we have made initial approaches and expecting some shipments to come in. They demonstrated availability and brought in the first 160,000, which is kept there, waiting for about 300,000 to come sometime this week. We were expecting about 2-3 weeks back, but we have faced challenges with vaccine availability and payment structures and things like that. I believe sometime this week we may receive the 300,000. So that was part of our plan, and it hasn't impacted on us so negatively.
Any update on phase 2 of our vaccination yet?
It is a difficult challenge. The vaccines we were expecting to be delivered by COVAX in April and May have delayed because of challenges in India. India has stopped exports, and therefore we can't have access to AstraZeneca any longer. The president is making very high-level diplomatic engagements, and we believe that may yield some results. Again, global advocacy is putting pressure on those who are sitting on some of the stocks to try to do what they are calling now as dose sharing, so that those who have the vaccines and are not using them can ship to countries that are looking seriously for them, like Ghana. They are working, and we haven't achieved any success yet, so we can't give deadlines and give predictions as to when deliveries will arrive in our country. But it will not take long. Those who had the first dose, we want to try to encourage you that we will soon get vaccines to do the second dose between the 8 to 12 weeks. But the science is even talking that beyond 12 weeks, you are even better protected if you get your second jab over the 12 weeks. So people shouldn't panic. We'll get vaccines to do vaccination.
That's the Health Minister, Kweku Agyemang-Manu, will be joined shortly on the phone by head of our health desk, First Smith. But Frontiers Healthcare Services providing testing of COVID-19 at the Kotoka International Airport is alarmed at the increasing rate at which persons coming into the country are reporting positive COVID-19 cases. I'll tell you more about that shortly. But Fred Smith has joined us on the phone from that ongoing Vaccination Week program. So, Fred, what exactly is the plan to deal with the vaccine supply challenges? I've heard you interacting with the health minister there, but what exactly has been the reaction?
Well, good news for Ghana. 300,000 vaccines will be coming into the country this week. But that would be insignificant that Ghana's target of 20 million vaccinations by the end of the year is nowhere close. So the health minister will explain that Ghana relies heavily on India through the COVAX platform to bring in as many AstraZeneca vaccines as possible. But unfortunately, because of what's happening in India, that is not possible to bring in more at the moment. So what he says is that the president himself is leading an international effort to mobilize some support from other countries to bring in those vaccines from countries where the vaccines are not really needed.
Apologies there. The Fred Smith's line, we have a terrible connection to Fred Smith's line there. We'll try and establish a better connection to him. But I'll take you back to the airport on issues being raised by the Frontiers Healthcare Services. They've raised alarm at the increasing rate at which persons coming into the country are reporting positive for COVID-19. Frontiers has therefore written to the Ghana Airport Company Limited to implement new guidelines to curtail the influx of positive cases into the country. Host of Super Morning Show, Kojo Yangsin, has details of that letter.
It's for the attention of the Managing Director, Mr. Yao Kwakwa of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. The heading is Re-Alarming Rate of Positive Cases Arriving into the Republic of Ghana. It says, and I quote, "We write in reference to our letter dated 21st of April 2021 with the above subject to bring to your attention once again the unprecedented rate of positive cases being recorded at Kotoka International Airport. Today, 24th of April 2021, we recorded 75 positive cases. This exceeds the previous highest rate of 45 positive cases on the 21st of April 2021. We once again appeal to all stakeholders to implement stringent measures on the quality of PCR results acceptable for entry into the Republic of Ghana. It has become imperative to implement new guidelines to curtail the influx of positive cases into the country. Please find details of today's daily records attached. We trust our request will be given the urgent attention it was. And it's signed Dr. Kujo Senyaja.
Well, there have been reactions to that on the Super Morning Show. Dr. Titus Bayo, for instance, who's the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, said it is not reflecting in the hospitals as the health facilities are seeing a decline in the cases. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, was asked about when Ghana will receive the next consignment of vaccines, have also been responding.
Because you know that getting a second dose around 12 weeks is better boost. Yeah, we're standing on now. Which was the earliest time in medical to see a vaccine. So move to 12 weeks.
So when are we getting more vaccines?
When I get the data, I'll let you know.
Okay, so you don't know at the moment when we'll get more?
We know that we get some in May. And when I get the date, we'll let you know.
That's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service earlier, but the latest development is that President Akufo-Addo is now personally leading international diplomatic efforts to bring in more vaccines to protect Ghanaians against COVID-19. Head of our health desk is part of the 11th Annual African Vaccination Week in Accra. He joins us on the line. Fred Smith, so for those who have taken the first jabs and are waiting their second, what exactly is in store for them? What have we been told?
Well, there's assurance from the health minister that all of those will be given the second dose between May and June. We're hoping that the effort the president is making will yield some positive results, so we bring in some more AstraZeneca vaccines for this purpose.
Well, but generally, participants, how have they been reacting to this latest development? Okay, it appears that Mr. Fred Smith is unable to hear us. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We move on to some other stories now. We'll turn attention to politics, and Ghana's enviable image as a beacon of democracy is said to have been tainted by the deaths that occurred during the 2020 polls. At least 5 persons are said to have lost their lives during the election period, leaving election watchers worried. Immediate past chairman of the United Nations Office for West Africa, Dr. Ibn Chamba, says this tainted Ghana's image. He's been speaking at a high-level stakeholders review of the 2020 elections.
To ensure that never again will we see any loss of life from elections. And so let's go back to the good practice in the past, where whatever shortcomings there may be with the process, the one thing that would not happen would be any killings around the electoral process. We should also be concerned that perhaps in that regard, we lost one of our bragging rights. I personally used to always say, when I'm talking in other contexts where things are tense, well, look, I come from a country where when we have elections, yes, we'll have our differences and you'll have the tension associated with elections everywhere, but there are never any deaths as a result of these elections. And if they occur, there are accidents that happen from accidents of vehicles or motorcycles, people going to or from party events. But I think this time our image has been tainted in that regard, and it should be of concern to us. One person's life is one person too many to be lost in an election.
That's Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambas, immediate past chairman of the United Nations Office for West Africa. My colleague Joseph Akable is at that event, joins us live from Ada, where it's been held. So, Joseph, what has been the EC's own assessment of the polls and its aftermath? Hello, Joseph. So I'm asking about the EC's own assessment of the polls and its aftermath.
In fact, the Electoral Commission describes the polls as a very successful, it's peaceful, and it's being the most seamless elections ever conducted in this public that we are currently in. Michael Boyle is director of the Electoral Commission.
For the first time, the ballot papers, DVDs, and voter registers were sent to the district 2 weeks before the conduct of the elections, as against the past, where these materials sometimes reach their destinations a day to the election. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, from the foregoing, one can safely conclude that the 2020 presidential parliamentary elections was the most successful, well-coordinated, efficient, seamless, and the most peaceful election organized in the Fourth Republic of Ghana. As an election management body, we are not resting on our oars, but we are committed to improving on our service delivery to the good people of Ghana.
Now, we also know that civil society organizations like the CDD Ghana, which observed the polls, were concerned about the violence which characterized the polls. What exactly have they been saying, Joseph?
Just to make the point that if you compare the violence that marred the elections in terms of the number, it may be lesser than previous elections, but it says the magnitude of the violence is more as it was characterized by gunshots.
Now, the BDR process recorded very serious cases of violence. Our security governance desk, when they looked at the 20 incidents of violence that they had, 14 out of it were very serious because it involved the shooting. You know, in the previous time you had a lot more incidents, but they were not serious. But this involves gunshots and even hitting bystanders and so on. So that for us, unfortunately, was more violent than previous ones, even though we had lesser incidents.
Well, and Joseph, briefly, did we have political party representation at this particular review?
Yes, we have the NDC represented by Alex Sebefi as well as the MPP represented by Mr. Peter Macmenu. And Mr. Sebefi contributed to the discussion and he disagreed with the EC's view on the matter and also asked some questions about the printing of the first ballots during the process. But the Electoral Commission said that did not actually happen. So engagement is still ongoing and they will be making some further comments on the overall assessment of the process.
That's Joseph Vakable reporting from Ada, where that review is currently underway. And this afternoon, joining us speaking information, President Akufo-Addo is likely to settle on private legal practitioner Kisi Ejabeng as the next special prosecutor after a meeting last week. Now, this, according to sources, is a recommendation of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfrey Yeboah-Dame. Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton Brobe joins me in studio with more. Elton, tell us more about this developing issue.
So, Emefa, the law compels the president to appoint a special prosecutor within 6 months of the position being vacant. Now, sources say the president will be naming a new special prosecutor soon following the AG's recommendation. What we are picking is that the Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Dame has written to the president to nominate Kisi Ejabeng as special prosecutor, subject to the approval of Parliament. Now, the office of the president, according to the sources, received their nomination on the 16th of April 2021. And President Akufo-Addo also last week met with Mr. Kisi Ejabeng, and we are all waiting the final outcome of this meeting, whether or not Mr. Kisi Ejabeng will get a job at. Sources tell me that he's most likely to be named as the next special prosecutor.
Okay, so whilst we await that, tell us a bit more about the man Kisi Ejabeng.
So he is currently the chairperson of the Electronic Communication Tribunal. He's 43 years old. He's a private legal practitioner and managing partner at Cranwell Grill law firm. He holds a Master's of Law from the Cornell Law School in New York, another Master's from Nova Scotia in Canada, another Master's in Marine and Environmental Law received in 2005 from the Ghana School of Law, and a lot more of the academic accolades. So basically, he's more than fit for the job. Now, what we're waiting to hear is the President Akufo-Addo's official communication to this effect.
Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton Brobe, thank you very much. Now, lawyers for senior police officer ACP Agojo and 9 others charged with high treason expect him to continue his duties with the Ghana police until the final determination of the case. The senior police officer is facing prosecution for allegedly partaking in an attempt to cause unrest in the country was last Friday rearrested by the National Intelligence Bureau. The 10 accused persons have since early 2020 faced the charge of treason felony. There's more in this report.
I have not committed any crime. I've done nothing wrong.
Senior police officer ACP Agojo has always maintained he's innocent.
Nobody should bog me down.
The state disagrees and is pushing for the ultimate punishment, the death sentence.
They acted in consent over a period of time to overthrow the government of the Republic of Ghana. They discussed means of killing the president or discussed whether the president ought to be killed or not to be killed. They actually set out to plan how the president will announce his own overthrow. And clearly the offense is properly laid against the accused persons.
Now, joining us is learning the police service regulation prescribes a slash in salary for personnel facing trial, but lawyer for ACP Agojo, Hamdia Mohammed, expects the accused to continue with duties with the police until the final determination of that case.
I know that the police person who is Dr. Agojo was getting his salary slashed, but then I don't know if there's any active measures that have been taken to by the police force to stop him from coming to work per se. But then he has not been pronounced guilty, so then he still has, the right to work because there's a presumption of innocence until you are proven guilty. So you can be suspended, but then you can't be, your right to work cannot be, curtailed. So for now, they have a right to continue working. But one can't exactly tell how long this could take because with the treason felony, they were arrested in November 2019, I think around November 2019, and the trial was set to start on 4th May. So all that has been happening so far have just been application for bail and preliminary proceedings.
She's also surprised the Attorney General decided to amend the charge few days to the hearing of that substantive case.
But then I think it was the manner in which it was done that was quite a surprise because, the lawyers were essentially told that we had a meeting with the former BNI, now NIB, that we had a meeting with the DPP and we should come along with our clients. So then when we went, we were told that the charge had been substituted, well, not substituted, a nolle prosequi was entered, that the Attorney General was no longer interested in prosecuting the case, but then a fresh action had been brought against the accused persons, and then they were rearrested. I think that since we are growing as a nation, our laws should also be, seen to be growing with us. Alternatively, what should have been done, it's my opinion, what should have been done is that the Attorney General should have probably waited till 4th May, which is and then in turn discharge the jury and discharge the accused persons. And then when they leave the court premises, they can be rearrested and charged. Because you can imagine, like, as a judge, you would just read in the newspaper that a nolle prosequi had been entered. You are not formally informed. The jury is not formally informed.
Hamdia Mohammed is lawyer for ACP Agojo, and they've been charged with high treason. This is the Midday News. Our top story is President Akufo-Addo personally leading international diplomatic efforts to bring in more vaccines to protect Ghanaians against COVID-19 as India's decision to suspend AstraZeneca export significantly impacts the country's vaccination plan. Still to come, we have sports, and then also later on Showbiz will tell you what exactly the controversial song Toto by rapper Edem means as he asks people to stop reading meanings into his new song.
When I say let's go out in Ewo, you can say mito, let's go out. Now the process is mitotum. It's like go and going, yes.
For Joy Forum, a high-powered dialogue on Ghana's illegal rosewood trade, sealing the leakages.
Because of the ban, nobody can go to the forest or the ground to harvest any rosewood.
But Joy News checks across the country show the harvesting of rosewood is still happening.
I would like to express my disappointment at this current government who even campaign on the protection of our vegetation.
On the world market, a 20-footer container of rosewood is sold for at least $10,000, which converts to almost 50,000 Ghana cedis or $500 million old cedis.
Your home of credible, fearless, and independent journalism takes stock of the report of the Committee of Inquiry into allegations of corruption in rosewood trade in Ghana. What's the status of recommendations and the war against Ghana's illegal rosewood trade? Be our guest on this dial for Joy Forum, coming soon.
History is golden, and it is only a present that is animated by history that can create a prominent future. Ghana has seen many gems. And now we introduce Ochami Bafo Seakuto, the linguist, the politician, the farmer, philanthropist, educationist, and business mogul. In line with this and under the auspices of the learned Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Enin Yabua, the Ghana School of Law presents the 16th edition of the Yakuto Memorial Lectures under the theme, The Legacy of Bafo Seakuto, a family man, chief and statesman. Date, Wednesday 28th April at KNUST in Kumasi. The keynote address will be delivered by Ochameba Dr. Owusu Yakuto, Minister for Food and Agriculture. Special guest of honor, Right Honorable Professor Michael Quay, former Speaker of Parliament and foremost economist, Mr. Kwame Pieni, and lawyer Maxwell Opoku-Agyemang, Acting Director of Legal Education. To whom honor is due, let's give honor. The event will be streamed live on key news portals.
The 5th Ghana CEO Summit is here again, the foremost business conference for topmost CEOs and business leaders, to be held on the 17th and 18th of May 2021 at Kempinski Hotel, Accra, on the theme Digital Transformation, Powering Business and Government Reset for a Post-Pandemic Economic Resilience, a Public-Private Sector Dialogue. For corporate registration, visit www.ghanaceosummit.com or call 054-639-1970. Powered by CEO Network Ghana in partnership with GIPC.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time for sports with Hans Mensando. Hello, Hans.
Hello, Emefa. Now, despite choosing to represent Ghana, Mohamed Salisu has asked for more time before he gets into the senior national team. The Southampton defender failed to honor his Black Stars debut call-up in 2019, citing injury problems. Well, last year, CK Akon admitted that the Ghana Football Association had made contact with Salisu concerning play for Ghana. However, the association's effort was deemed unsuccessful, with a 22-year-old rejecting the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll be so proud, to play to my country, to be to play with Ghana, the national team. But I think this is not the right moment to be in the team, to play in the national team. And I think I need to focus on the club side, too, because I'm young. I think I need to focus on the club side first, and then after, when everything is fine, I can go and play for Ghana.
The Southampton defender Mohamed Salisu. That's your sports.
Thank you very much, Hans. Let's go around the country now. And Hannah Odame joins me in studio. Hannah, we start from Wenchi in the Western North region. What's happening there?
MFA farmers there say that the continuous contamination of the Channel River for mining purposes is having a negative effect on their yields. Our colleague Nanaya Ojima traveled to the affected communities and filed this report.
The River Chene, which has served the community for years, is heavily polluted by illegal miners. It looks brownish, unfit for household chores. She says the river was the only alternative source of water for us. Today, it can't be used for anything. Farmers at Wenchi have their farms intact, but cannot access water for their crops. They want government intervention to protect their source of income.
Some residents there. Now, let's get to the Western region now, where the Lands and Natural Resources Minister is on a visit there again.
And at this time, he is accompanied by some leadership of parliament from both the majority and minority sides to express how government is determined to win the fight against illegal mining. Let's hear him.
Enforcement, particularly the enforcement of the laws, the rules, the directives and regulations relating to the utilization of the lands and natural resources of our country. I've already put it formally to you as regional minister. Continues to be the mandate of the national security architecture, with the regional security council being at the forefront of the execution of that mandate.
So that's the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Samuel Abujinapo. Now, headsman believed to be a Fulani extract has been found dead with gunshot wounds at Guaman in the Jasikan district of the Oti region. What more do we know?
Peter Senyo, our correspondent, has been interacting with the Odikro of the Guaman community, and he brings us the latest.
We know that this death did not occur or as a result of anything that was done in this community. It didn't happen because the cattle actually are not resident here. They are resident in the neighborhood. So, I don't know. Early dawn, some people had sporadic gun shooting towards the Insuta side. So, we are anticipating that that has caused that whole problem, not from this community.
So that's for around the country. I'll take you now to Kaswa for our Joy News agenda. My colleague Joseph Akable takes us on a drive.
Between the hours of 9 and 10 a.m., the roads leading to Kaswa are simply free of vehicular congestion. At the main bus terminal at Kwame Nkrumah interchange, drivers simply cannot find passengers for the journey to commence.
By this time, the
situation is different in the evening when workers close and early morning when they are heading to work. Isaac Bondi has been plying the road for 12 years.
A lot of people now live at Kaswa. So the traffic is terrible in the morning. Starting from the toll booth, we are really suffering.
Moses Amokole, another driver, agrees.
Kaswa is not far. It should take about 35 minutes. But with the traffic, you need a minimum of an hour and a half. We spend a lot on fuel.
Transport analyst Dr. Ernest Ajiman believes rail can be an option.
So people are already desirous to have a change in the inefficient status quo that we have from the trotro-dominated public transit to a mass transit, provided it's going to not crawl in traffic like President Dayelolo is doing. But I guess rail will not have an issue with traffic. So then I think that's something that people will be willing to switch and use.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
No matter how much traffic there is, you ought to drive safe. It's time for Showbiz. Mapitso Sebidi is here. Edem is still explaining.
The song in 2018, but he joined the Showbiz A to Z team on Joy 99.7 FM on Saturday, and he was explaining what his Toto song is about.
The word has to be broken down for people to understand it. Ega is the sun, okay? Ega is the sun. Ega. When I say let's go out in Ewo, you can say mito. Now the process is mitotum. It's like go and going. I'm saying that we hustle from the rising of the sun. And because people judge a book by its cover, which is our culture, and we also look at only headlines and conclude, nobody really went to the second verse that says, what we go do, money no day. So we dey search them every corner, every day. You see, the hustle not easy. We dey hustle for
This Eve is elective Eve. You messy. Okay, thank you very much. And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil tells us about the power of worship, episode 1. Thanks so much. Have a good afternoon.
When you want it, just momo it. When you tire for the long queue in the supermarket, just momo it. And when you really want that beautiful new blouse too, just momo it. And when you won't get that trim, when you go get fresh